Welcome to the Old Methods for New Money show. Today, we are getting straight to the point. We're going to build your financial roadmap for 2026. And I mean a real plan. No vague advice, no confusing jargon. The goal here is to create something clear, powerful, and so personal that you can hit the ground running tomorrow. So, let's get into it.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First up, we need to understand the lay of the land. What's the economic forecast for 2026? Then, we'll dive into two very different paths. Path 1 is for anyone building from the ground up. Path 2 is for those of you who already have capital and need the right strategy. After that, we'll face something I call the investor's dilemma, and we'll wrap it all up by locking in your personal path forward. Think of this as a journey, and I promise, by the end, you will know exactly which road is yours.
All right, let's start with that big picture. Before we can make any moves, we have to understand the field we're playing on. You know, what does the world of money actually look and feel like as we head into 2026?
Now, listen to the key word in that sentence, cautious. That really is the mood music of the market right now. After a pretty wild year, people are hesitant. But here's the secret, okay? An environment that's full of uncertainty and mixed signals, well, that is precisely where a clear, disciplined strategy doesn't just survive, it absolutely thrives. This caution from everyone else, that creates massive opportunity for us.
So let's break down what that caution actually means for different assets, because it's a real split personality out there. U.S. stocks, they're looking at kind of modest gains, maybe 5 to 10%, but with a lot of choppiness expected. Bonds, on the other hand, are suddenly looking pretty attractive, offering solid 4 to 6% yields as a safe place to park cash. And then you've got the wild cards. Crypto is stuck in what they call extreme fear, leading to chop. That's just the market grinding sideways. But that fear could be the very thing that sets up a massive 50 to 100% rebound. And gold, the classic world is ending asset, could see a huge run, maybe up to $5,000 an ounce. The main takeaway is this. Every asset class is set to react very differently to the mood out there.
And of course, we can't just ignore the headlines. All the geopolitical stuff is absolutely part of the 2026 picture. US-China tensions, the war in Ukraine, instability in the Middle East, it all adds another layer of uncertainty. Now, while the chances of some of these things blowing up into a major crisis are actually pretty low, they do feed into that overall cautious feeling. The key here isn't to be scared, but to know these risks are already on the table, and the defensive strategies we're going to talk about, they're built with all this in mind.
Which, brings us to the most important question of all. In this complicated world with cautious investors and global risks everywhere you look, how do you create a plan that doesn't just protect your money, but actually allows you to win? The answer is you have to stop looking at the entire market and start focusing on the one path that is designed specifically for you.
So let's walk down our first path. This section is for anyone, and I mean anyone, starting 2026 with little or no cash, maybe even starting with debt. And listen, this isn't just a list of tips. This is a hardcore, year-long battle plan to build a financial fortress from the ground up.
Just look at this. This is your whole year, all mapped out. It proves that building wealth from scratch isn't some kind of magic trick. It's a structured, step-by-step process that you can actually achieve. We start with intense defense in the first half of the year, and then we pivot to strategic offense in the second half. Each step builds on the last one, creating this incredible, unstoppable momentum.
The first 6 months are about one thing and one thing only: defense. This is your financial boot camp. Step 1, stop the bleeding. You cut every single non-essential cost, no excuses. Step 2, maximum income. Yeah, this means 70-hour work weeks for a few months to stack your first $5,000. It's a grind. Step 3, build the emergency wall. That's $10,000 in cash, sitting safe in a high-yield savings account. This is not investment money. This is a wall. It's a psychological shield so that one flat tire doesn't destroy your entire future.
Now, once that wall is built, and only once it's built, we get to the most important step of the entire year. Before you even think about buying a stock or crypto or anything else, you make the single highest return investment available on planet Earth. You invest in your own ability to earn more money.
And this slide shows you exactly why. Just look at that number, 750%. That is the kind of return you can get by spending a couple $1,000s on a certification or a skill that takes your pay from $20 an hour to $35. I mean, come on. No stock, no bond, no asset on the market can give you a predictable return that massive. This is how you permanently change your financial life. You increase your income.
Okay, so only after you've built your wall and you've upgraded your skills do you finally put some money to work. And here, you've basically got two choices. You can go the passive route, buy some boring, super reliable dividend stocks, companies that make soap and toothpaste. It's simple, it's low stress, and it starts an income stream.
Or you can choose active leverage. This is where you use your savings for a down payment on a duplex, live in one half, and rent out the other. This lets you control a huge asset and can basically eliminate your housing cost. Two very different, but very powerful first moves into the market.
All right, let's pivot now to our second path. This is for those of you who've already built that foundation, you've got capital, it's ready to go, and your question isn't, how do I get started? But what is the right strategy for the unique conditions of 2026?
For 2026, it really boils down to two competing philosophies. The easiest way to think about it is offense versus defense. The aggressive growth strategy is all about trying to hit a home run. You concentrate your money in a few big ideas you think are going to explode. The defensive allocation strategy, on the other hand, is about protecting what you have, generating steady income, and spreading your bets to lower your risk while you wait for a really great opportunity to come along.
So what does that aggressive playbook look like? It's all in on huge mega trends. First, you've got the picks and shovels of the AI gold rush, the companies making the chips and the cloud infrastructure that powers everything. Second, you have biotech breakthroughs like the new weight loss drugs or longevity treatments. And third, a big high-conviction bet on crypto, with the idea that the current fear is a launchpad for Bitcoin to maybe hit $140,000, even $180,000. It's a focused, high-risk, high-reward game.
Now, the defensive playbook is totally different. It's built for that cautious environment we talked about. It focuses on things like the energy infrastructure needed to power all those AI data centers. But the most important part? It keeps about half of its money in dry powder. That's safe stuff like bonds and cash earning 4 to 5%, just waiting for a market drop. It also hedges its bets with international funds and gold. And notice, it still has crypto, but it's treated as a small asymmetric bet, a little 5 to 10% position that could pop, but won't sink you if it doesn't.
And this chart just gives you the perfect visual of that defensive mindset. I mean, look at that, a huge 50% slice in bonds and cash. That is the heart of the strategy, keeping your capital safe and earning a steady income. The other pieces are there for diversification and a little bit of calculated upside. This is a portfolio built to weather a storm.
Okay, so you've got these two clear, very different philosophies, aggressive growth or defensive allocation. How in the world do you choose? Well, to answer that, we have to go beyond the numbers and get into psychology. And for that, we need a metaphor that's going to help you understand your own relationship with risk. So let's talk about crossing a frozen lake.
Just imagine the 2026 market is this huge frozen lake, and you need to get to the other side. The problem is, you don't know how thick the ice is. It might be solid as a rock, or it might have some really thin patches. The way you decide to cross that lake depends entirely on your preparation and, honestly, your personality.
And this right here brings the two strategies to life perfectly. The aggressive growth investor, they're the sprinter. They see the prize on the other side and they believe that moving fast is the safest way to get there. They're betting they can get over any thin spots before the ice has a chance to break. The defensive allocation investor, though, is the walker. They move slowly, carefully, testing the ice with every single step. And they're carrying a life vest. That's their dry powder, because they know a crack could appear at any time and they want to be ready for it. So, this is it. This is the crucial question. Which person are you? And there is no right or wrong answer here. But you have to be brutally honest with yourself. Are you a sprinter or are you a walker? Your answer to that question defines your entire investment strategy for 2026. And hey, if this framework is helping you get some clarity on your own financial thinking, do me a favor and take a quick moment to like this show and hit that subscribe button. We break down powerful strategies just like this every single week.
Okay, we've looked at the big picture. We've explored two very different paths with two very different mindsets. Now, let's pull it all together and talk about the one thing that connects both of these journeys and is the real secret to success. Let's talk about the ultimate advantage.
And here it is. The ultimate advantage isn't some secret stock tip or a fancy algorithm. It's disciplined execution. It honestly doesn't matter if you're on path 1, grinding out 70-hour weeks to build your wall, or on path 2, patiently sitting on your dry powder. The specific plan you choose is actually less important than your absolute, unwavering commitment to sticking with it, day in and day out.
So here's your action plan, nice and simple. If you're starting from zero, your whole world is defense. Build that wall, invest in yourself, don't even look at the market. If you have capital, your job is to choose your philosophy. Are you sprinting across the ice for growth, or are you walking cautiously for safety? And that leads us to the final and really the most important question you have to ask yourself. Look at your plan. Are you truly willing to execute it for 365 straight days without getting scared, without getting greedy, without changing your mind? Your answer to that question will determine everything in 2026. For more deep dives into building wealth, make sure you're subscribed. Thank you for listening to Old Methods for New Money.